The advice I got from my instructor was to not practice on a bag.
Mm.
So that ball is fine, but he does it. He always talks about what you talk about in your school. Imagine the opponent and imagine specifically what they are doing and practice your responses slow.
Okay.
Because the slower you do it, the smoother you can do it, and the smoother you can do it, the faster you can do it.
True.
For the ball, definitely like imagine what part of the body that is at. Is it their chin? Is it their head? Is it their neck? Is it center of the chest? Is it the shoulder? Is it that shoulder? Is it underneath? And it will only, for a ball, it will on a string, it will only stay in that one spot. But if you are able to mentally shift what that target is and maintain the action that they're doing, that is how you slowly build up to be able to be a better fencer against a live opponent.
Okay. Okay.
However, like you won't really ever get good enough to fence until you actually go out and live fence someone. That's sort of the beauty of the HEMA work that I do. If I can just throw on pads and tip my sword, which is already not sharp, and I can go out and I can lose 50 times a night, and I can learn from that losing of, okay, I didn't put up my riposte here, I didn't hold up my counter guard, and then I can
Yeah,
go
you
and do
can
that
learn those adjustments.
and I can run that in my personal practice, and then I can come back and instead of losing 50 times, I win 20 times and I lose 30 times, and you just slowly build up to so many losses that you know how to destroy someone's technique every time.
When you do mostly fence, because I know we talked about how you approach in with your sword grip, how you kind of do terza, where it's where it's straight up and down. There we go. Straight up and down. Do you find yourself mainly fencing like that all the time, or do you do a supination or a pronation?
Probably. So the most common for me is terza or quarta.
Okay, you do a slight supination.
I will either do completely sideways or I will do supination. I mostly do supination because from the school I came from, the fencers naturally wanted to put you to their inside, which meant the unarmed side of the
Okay.
hand. And because it's, even if you're a left-handed fencer, this is your inside because that's the one that doesn't have a sword. And so the tendency for all these right-handed fencers is I fence them in quarta because they like to hold their guard really high to make sure they're covering their head. And so if I fence them in quarta, I can quickly lift my palm to defend my head, but I can also strike underneath their sword frequently.
Okay, just kind of let it fall onto them.
Yeah. And because most of the time, if they want to commit to something, all I have to do is extend my arm and do a slight retreat or a slight girata, and they will fall onto the tip of my blade,
Okay, cool.
stabbing themselves, and that's an easy win for me.
Okay, so practicing more in that terza grip, imagining what the ball is on the person, and what about footwork? Anything in particular? Well, I know a little bit of footwork. I guess I could keep
More on stance.
practice on
My
more on the
teacher,
stance.
before I left the school, I only left because I moved, but I
Yes.
am going to continue this practice of this specific treatise because I really like it.
Well, hopefully, eventually, you start your own.
That is the ultimate goal. I want to train for a few more months and get confident on my own, and then anyone who's curious or just is interested in also doing the research or has done any of the research, let's create a school and come together, and when we get skilled enough, let's start teaching amateurs, or not amateurs but newcomers to the art. I don't know too many professional Fabris fencers, if any.
Well, maybe you'll be the first. Who knows?
But what I was going to say is that my teacher always encouraged a very low stance. Like in some of the footage that you can find for the school, Scoula Di Fabris, SCUOLADISFABRIS on Instagram. You will see a lot of guys standing very straight, up and down. It occurs to me I can probably stand up.
You could just demonstrate.
So you will see a lot of guys standing very vertical, but Tim has always encouraged me to get as low as possible whenever fencing, because it will make you more cautious, and it actually, a technique that you do on stage, that a habit you're trying to break, is it collapses all of the options to get hit, and it puts you behind this extremely long, sharp shell of a sword.
Okay.
So the lower you get, the harder it is to hit you. The less mobile you are, but it's surprising how much it can extend the reach of your lunge whenever you rest lower.